Welcome to JustWannaQuilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and, of course, a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend-Guard, your host. I'm a law professor at Tulane University Law School. I also hold two fellowships right now, one at the Business School and one at the Newcomb Institute at Tulane. And I just want to quilt. So today we are very excited to have Scott Fortunoff back on the show. He is the president of Jaftex, which is a family of fabric people. He's a fourth generation in the fabric industry, and the companies include Fabric Additions, Henry Glass, Blank Quilting Corporation, A.E. Nathan, Studio E, and Free Spirit. He talks to us today about what's been going on during COVID and now in the fall, and also his new video thing with stores, which is so insanely cool. So we talk a good hour with Scott, and I'm super psyched to have him on the show. As always, he's a great friend and so incredible, and I'm so glad to have spent the time with him. We're super psyched to have you here. This is Scott Fortunoff. You are a great friend to our program and our project, and you're amazing, and we adore you beyond belief, and we're super psyched to chat with you. So for those that don't know you and aren't fangirling the way I am, tell me a little bit about your family and help us sort of understand who you are.
Okay. First off, I want to say thank you for having me. And yes, you are a good friend to me as well. And I love working with you, and I love what you're doing. So thank you for that. You definitely brought on a new perspective for the industry. And someone who went to law school, it definitely resonates with me. To some extent. Hopefully I won't get in trouble with the law and I won't have to worry too much, but it's interesting nonetheless.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me. So I'm Scott Fortunoff. I'm the president of, well, really, my Facebook handle is @Jaftex President. Although my dad is really the president on paper, I play the president on Facebook. Nice. And outside of the office. But so my family business is Jaftex. This year we're celebrating our 90th anniversary in business. I'm the fourth generation. And basically our companies, we have several quilt shop only companies and some that cater to the chains too. And what we do is we buy the companies. All the companies that we have under our umbrella are purchased. So I'm sure you all know in 2018, we bought Free Spirit, but prior to that, we bought Blank Quilting and Fabric Additions, which Studio E came out of Fabric Additions, and now Fabric Additions has Three Wishes. We have Henry Glass, we have Blank Quilting, and we also have A. Nathan. So those are all of our companies right now. And it's great to be in fabric right now. I got to tell you, Elizabeth, it's very exciting.
It's a crazy time for the sewing industry, isn't it? Because you and I have talked a lot about like what's going to revitalize it, what's going to sort of inject it with new energy. And it turns out it's a very contagious virus.
Yes. Not how we want it to happen, but we're happy, we like the results, but wish it wasn't because of a pandemic. And things are crazy. I mean, the velocity, this is a word we're using a lot now, velocity at which we are selling fabric is beyond the speed that we could order. Like you see on the news, there are real issues, supply chain issues, whether it's finding gray goods or the mills are closing due to COVID or whatever. Things are just taking longer. The mills are busy because there's just a frenzy on fabric because people are making masks. And yes, that has created a great revival. Everyone's, dusting off their old machines, I would say everyone's probably through their stash by now, which probably is a very large feat in and of itself.
Yeah.
If you're not done with your stash yet, you either have a very large stash or you have, you're not a quick mask maker.
Yeah.
Or like that.
Yeah. Well, let's take us back to like February. And also You're in New York, so you were in the midst of so much. We were in New Orleans. We got hit very early too. So it was this really interesting it's been this kind of crescendo in some way as the rest of the country caught up. So tell me a little bit about what was life like in February, and then sort of how did that change as things, tell us a little bit about that story.
Okay. So, listen, it happened fast. I think, to be honest, I was kind of in denial. I didn't think it was happening and it was going to be as bad as it has become. But my brother, so just so you know, Elizabeth, my job is really sales. When I came into business about 15 years ago, my dad said, you just sell and everything else will work it out and I'll do the rest. So my brother came into the business, Greg, he does operations and he had us set up to work from home that February. I'm not sure exactly the date off the top of my head, but we closed, we told everyone to go home and we've been working since. So it's been, I think it's probably like 23 or 24 weeks that I've been working from home. I've been in the office only twice since to review lines and see some people. The city is definitely like no other. It's definitely getting a little seedy. It's a little scary. So, unlike other places like where the Free Spirit office is in Charlotte, everyone drives to work. Everyone who goes to work in New York City has to take a bus and a train and walking through the city, through the subway. It's just not the same, and it's not.
That's really
so that's really that's really a challenge. But we're in it home for the rest of the year at the minimum. We've told our employees if we're not going in, you're not going in. Obviously we could go in sporadically here and there, but we're working great from home. Like I said, Greg had us set up. Phones are directed to us. Computers are all working great. And that's it. The one thing I just wanted to mention was, so right when, and this is all my brother and I'm just his puppet. He said, Scott, we need to communicate. So from day one, every single week since Corona hit, we have a call on Monday with all of our employees, like 100, 60, 80, or maybe 100 employees. I don't know, however many it is. Tuesday, I have a Facebook Live with all of my retailers on my @Jaftex President retailer page, which is now went from 600 in the beginning of COVID. It's now 1,400 plus. And then on Wednesday, I talk to all my sales reps. And we've been consistent all the way through because right now the communication is the most important thing because there are things that are changing. Deliveries are, delayed, things are late, and we want to communicate and we want everyone to know that we're there and we're not just sitting home and, taking a vacation. We want everyone to know we're working, we're on top of things. If they have anything to bring up, we want to hear about it. So communication has been key. We've been sending lots of emails to our customers, letting them, keeping them updated with what's going on. And we've stuck with that. And I think we're just going to stay the course and just keep communicating and make sure all the information is out there for everyone and that we are very accessible if there are any questions.
Yeah, you really are. It's amazing. Okay, so let's go back. So I've been to a warehouse, which is awesome. Like it is like you just want to just stay there because it's like just row after row after row of beautiful things. How has the warehouse been through all of this? Did you have to shut down? Did you have to change things? Sort of I kind of want to sort of go through the kind of different parts of how we understand this.
That's fair. So we were fortunate that we did not close down at all, Elizabeth. It worked out great. We were deemed essential, and our warehouse really is kind of in the boonies. Seneca, South Carolina is really off the beaten path. So we were fortunate in that sense.
Yeah.
One of the things that we did was, right when COVID hit, we were getting so many requests for donations. It was so overwhelming. So rather than trying to fulfill all these donations and trying to decide, why do I give it to you versus, Joe Schmo on the block who's, just emailing me randomly who I don't even know, we decided that we would have aggressive sales from all of our companies. So on our retailer page, which I had mentioned, went from 600 to 1,400 shop owners. We had sales like weekly. There would be a Free Spirit sale. There'd be a Henry Glass sale because we knew that the customers who were looking for masks were not the customers who were paying 10, 11, 12 bucks a yard. They're just wanted to make masks. They're looking to pay, whatever, the lowest they could pay, which in a reasonable world is, $6, $7, $8 on the good quality Korean fabrics. So we just had all these sales and we fed the beast, so to speak. So
it was remarkable. Yeah, so we participated with that because we got a grant and we were able to buy a ton of fabric. For us, a lot of fabric, not from you, not in your perspective, but we bought a lot of fabric and were able to give it out in New Orleans. We just gave out bolts of fabric to people because there was this sense of how do you get really good, because we learned it had to be good quality quilting fabric, and so everybody was looking to you and to companies like you for good quality fabric, and you really stepped up because you gave prices that groups like ours and others could afford it. And then most of us were not selling masks. We were just giving them out as fast as we could make them because, the first responders were asking for them. So it was amazing to watch your company sort of recognize the need and do what you did. It was really moving, I have to say, to watch sort of what you all doing.
Well, listen, this is scary. It's sad. We do care about the industry. We do care about our customers. All those things are important to us. So if we could help them in this time, we know that it will come back to us some way or the other. But so in any case, Elizabeth, so we had these sales.
Yeah.
We cleared out so much, and not bad fabric, just older fabric.
Right.
You know what happens when a line has 12 pieces and you only have 3? It's not a line anymore, so some of the SKUs get around. So it was a good opportunity. It was a win-win because we cleaned out a ton of inventory. We probably have the lowest inventory we've ever had. We made a lot of space at the warehouse. But now our struggle has shifted because we really went through all the goods that we could sell at those lower prices and those deals. And I think that has slowed down a little bit. Now we're focused more on selling the regular price goods. But the warehouse has been running, and now our struggle is really getting the fabrics in quickly enough. Our fabrics are selling so much faster, so much more. And we're just trying to keep up. And it's really a struggle. It keeps me up at night, I would say for sure, where we've now in the warehouse, going back to your original question, we're now working 6 days a week. We're getting more equipment, and we just hired 5 more people, and we're just trying to keep up. And, then the big question is this going to stick? Is this going to be forever? Or is this just a fluke? And,
right.
Next year at this time, it's going to be back to normal.
Do you see people making
a little bit?
Yeah. So I think what's interesting, what I'm seeing is now that industries come in and making masks, the need for masks has shifted to like elementary schools and other things. But I'm not making masks anymore. Like I used to be making so many masks it was out of control. And now people can buy them and it's super great. But now I'm like, I want a quilt. So I feel like I've earned the right to go buy a bunch of fabric because I used up all my fabric and I gave it out to people. Do you feel like that is also playing a role in this? That people
you never have to earn the right to quilt. You could always quilt, Elizabeth.
It's true.
So I'm not sure I don't know what the question was exactly, but I want to tell you now we're starting to think the next thought that I'm talking about a lot with my customers and my team is how are we going to get these new quilters or these new mask makers to stick? Because a mask maker might not be a quilter that wants to make a quilt. Yeah. They might want to make a little project. And, I'm thinking about kids. They're going to be home. How are we getting them? I'm thinking about an untapped angle, which is really men. There's a huge opportunity for men, I think, as well. And I'm going to keep talking about this with my retailers and my customers and my employees and my sales reps. And just try to figure out how we could all improve the whole industry. And again, I kind of think we take a different view. I think I take a different view on the business than my dad did when he was younger. And really the view is more global. And I'm not just thinking about Scott shipping to quilt shops and that's it. I'm thinking about my quilt shop customers, their customers. I like to call them my customers' customers. And the whole picture, it's about charity. It's about entertaining the ultimate consumer and getting them to be on our side and getting them to be super fans, which really is something that goes back to a conference that I went to on social media, is creating that super fan who just loves your brand, loves what you stand for, whether it's, us giving back to charity or giving away the sewing machines, those in need, which I've since stopped, or the 20 weeks of Jaftex trivia where I spent Sunday afternoons with 250 to 350 asking questions and giving away 15 to 20 prizes a week for 20 weeks.
Amazing.
400 prizes just to keep people entertained and thinking about Jaftex and our fabrics and really kind of thanking them for being our customers.
And do you feel like your customers, you have such interesting lines that are very specific, and it's true of all the different companies. Do you feel like people get that, like, Tell me about the fan base of sort of like, do you have fans for particular lines or for the companies themselves? Sort of, what are you seeing out there?
Listen, everyone always has their favorite. So it's like that. But I think really now it's more people who are standing behind Jaftex in general. Yeah, we have such a variety. They might not like everything. You might be modern, or you might be CAIF, or you might be, decorative, or, whatever the subject matter is that you prefer. But we like to just think that we have a big variety and cover so many different bases. And so one day you might love a Tula line, and the next day you might like a Studio E line, or something like that. Maybe you love CAIF's next line, but you don't like his next line after, or something like that. So it's really hard to say, to pinpoint it. Of course, there are specific fans, and we're always trying to grow that and make them bigger fans of, Kim Deal and CAIF and Pepper Corey and Sandra Magsamen and, all of our, Anna Marie Horner and all of our, licensed designers who are, creating all these amazing things.
So how was it to have your Sunday always for 20 weeks? That's like, did you know, like that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of commitment, I just have to say. Like, that's a lot.
You know what, Elizabeth? It's funny. So many of these things are like half-baked ideas and just turns into something, whether it's I'm not sure if everyone knows about the Sunday thing that she's referring to, but basically I think it was about week 1, I had the warehouse send me a bunch of pre-cuts, and I decided to do trivia. And I did about 12 to 15 questions. Even maybe towards the end, it got up to 20. And I would ask questions and say, the 5th person who gets the correct answer wins. Then I would send them a prize. They would email me their address. And at the end of the videos each week, my wife and I would pack up all the packages and send them out. And it just started, and I guess it just didn't stop, and it built up to 20 weeks. And I finally had to stop at the end of July because I'm moving and my house is a mess, my world is a mess, and I need to spend a little more time with my family. It was like, I think it was 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock on Sundays, which kind of fell right in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I was just saying to Lori that when we move, I think I need to start something else up in August, because I am going to be home for the rest of the year, and I do want to do it, and I do want to continue to cater to everyone, because it's not just about my quilt shop customers. Of course, they're important, but it's not just about them. Also, just other things. So right now, and we could talk, I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about this, the video challenge.
Right.
But we also had Scott Sent Me last year, which was the one where I challenged consumers to visit as many shops as they can. And, one of the winners last year, she went over to over 200 quilt shops in 3 months.
That's amazing.
And, to me, that's me working with the ultimate consumer, but it's also me getting consumers into the quilt shop. So I'm trying to my customers, which, like I said in the beginning, that's not something my dad would do back in the day, not because it didn't even cross anyone's mind, but we're in a new world.
We are in a new world. It's really interesting.
So this is these are the things that we're trying to do. And again, yes, of course, I'm about Jaftex, but I want the whole industry to thrive. Everyone will win if our quilt shops win and more people are sewing. Everyone will win. There's enough to go around for everyone.
I totally agree. And the beauty of quilters is we buy everything. It's not like we're going to be like, we're only like, we like to buy things. So that's a good part about it. Okay, so let's talk. We talked about the warehouse. Can we talk a little bit about the shops and sort of how did they do during Corona, and what did you see and how did you support them? Because I'm curious what that situation was like. And did all of them thrive?
I'll ask you, what?
And did all of them thrive, or did you see them struggling? Sort of what was happening with the shops so far?
Okay, so the first part I'll ask, which is quick, just a quick answer, is how did it help them was we did those sales. Yeah. I think it helped them a lot getting the low price fabric so they could sell the masks. That was, Elizabeth, it's really hard to say. It's really so geographic. It depends where you are. People in North Dakota, like there's not even any COVID. So they're not even thinking about it. But other people in California, they had to be closed. So it really varied a lot. I mean, of course, the people who had online businesses, thrived the most. But also those who adapt and pivoted were did well. If you couldn't get into your store because the government said you can't do that, that was a challenge for sure. Whether you brought the fabric home or did other things and pivoted to curbside or delivery or whatever, that was just a matter of, it depends. So again, to answer that question specifically,
that's hard.
Everyone's different. But in general, the quilt shops are thriving.
Yeah.
A lot of them are
right?
There are huge numbers from before, but they're working twice as hard. And, you know, it's hard to get fabric for them. And we're not in it alone. I know it's harder to get gray goods. It's just really the supply chain issues are challenging. But, you know.
So explain, in case people don't know, what is a gray good?
So the gray good is when they take the cotton and they weave it up, so then we could then print on that fabric. So it's basically the raw material that you need to make fabric. Without gray goods, you need something to print on. So that's what we.
Okay, I've got a couple other lines, but one more part of this is the sales reps. So tell me sort of how their life has changed and what role do they play? Because they played a big role before COVID. So I'm curious where they fit in the system now and how are they doing? And should we be worried about them? Sort of how are they doing?
Actually, that's a really good question. So the first thing we did, you know, like when COVID first hit, it was very, I thought the world was ending. I really did. I had no idea that it was going to be the complete opposite for our industry, per se. So we got nervous and conservative, which ended up being wrong. But, you know, in situations like this, you're better off being conservative than, you know, and see how things play out than, you know, be a hero. So, you know, when it happened, I think we pushed out some of the lines a couple of months on delivery. We got a lot of cancellations because, like I said, people were cautious right out of the gate, cancel. And that was hard. And, you know, others just said, hold the orders, which was also hard because it's very misleading on the inventory. If they put it on hold, you don't know if they're going to take it or not. Right. But we did to make the sales reps' lives easier and so they could get the continuity is we went to lookbooks. So we made lookbooks of all the lines and the reps could do a Zoom call like we're doing right now. And they would have the lookbook that they could flip through all the lines and show them as if the rep was in front of the customer.
Right.
They could look through that on the computer and that was how they would sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and you've been sending those out because I'm on one of your mailing lists. So it's been fun to sort of see sort of that. It's really interesting. So very interesting. Okay, related to that is Quilt Market. So Quilt Market got canceled. It's now canceled again. I'm curious what your thoughts. There was a virtual one. I didn't know how did that go for you, and sort of what's the role? Do you think that what's your thoughts about all of that? That's a big brouhaha in this group, this industry as well that we've been following.
I think I have mixed emotions about that. You know, it's stinky. You know, I miss a lot of the people that we see only twice a year. You know, and you lose touch and. That's a challenge. I feel bad for Quilt Market. You know, it's unlucky. I wish they had just come out a little sooner and owned it and said we're canceling. I think they were trying to hold on. And listen, of course, it's a big part of the business. When you have 2 shows a year, if one's canceled, half your business is cut in half. And now they have 2 canceled. Unfortunately, on the first go around, they waited too long where it was a lot of the people like me, companies were coming out saying we're not going.
Right.
So really it wasn't even happening then and we knew it. But I feel bad for them. You know, there are definitely some positive things about Quilt Market. As life goes on without it, we're trying to realize, you know, maybe it's not necessary. And it's also a huge expense. And then also, you know, what's the future? Are people going to be traveling? I just don't know. So even if we did have this next Quilt Market in October, which there is now canceled, what would the attendance be? Am I going to go spend the same amount I always spend and, you know, all these elaborate booths with decorations and have Tula and schoolhouses and Anna Marie Horner and all of our people there? It is a big expense. So it is great and it does serve a purpose. And to be honest, I always meet someone new at Quilt Market. There's always a new opportunity. Right. There's always something good, which you can or might not get somewhere else.
Right.
So
it kind of puts everyone in their own silo. And so you don't have that coming together component of it. But at this point, that's just not possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's, life is lonely now a little bit. That's everywhere, work, life, you're seeing people less, you have to work harder to communicate with them, whether it's on Facebook or even picking up the phone. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. It's true. Okay, so tell me a little bit. Can we do a couple more questions? Are you cool?
Yeah, you
Awesome.
got me as long as you want.
Oh, see, I adore that. Tell me a little bit about like what I think is so interesting about you is that you're so out there in terms of like you're working with the stores, you're working with you've got you talk with the fans. Tell me the role of social media for your company at this point and the role of the blog that you keep, which I love to read as well. It feels like you give us I'm going to put myself in the consumer side. So you give us a little insight and you make us feel part of things. And I'm curious about what your philosophy is on social media.
Okay. It's funny. My team, they keep telling me that I'm a brand. And I was
you are.
that. I think it's funny. Listen, it just goes in the same thing. And it's kind of the way I'm different than my dad was. And not that my dad was bad. It just was a different era. They didn't have social media.
Yeah.
It's the fabric thing. It's not one, just me and my customer. It's now everything. I want to share. People want to know the inside. They want to know, why, where we print the fabric, what's going on during COVID. And I like to share that. As long as it's not proprietary, I want everyone to know. I know they love it. Everyone has an insatiable desire to learn. Yeah. And I think it's especially interesting. It's something that they love, fabric. Yeah. And if they could learn about it and know more, there's nothing better than that. There's nothing I love more than when someone says, "Oh, I learned a lot from you today." Yeah. And in fact, what my team is working on, I forgot what we're calling it, something like short snippets of information. Like, for example, I always talk about how many different colors we could print in Korea on traditional roller printing, and it's 18 colors as opposed to digital, which is unlimited. So those are small things that people just don't know, and I like to teach them, whether it's about the construction of the fabric or where we produce the fabric, or even letting them, what I love the most, which was always the most fun for me, is when I could go to the warehouse and tour everyone around, because that's like the secret sauce.
Right.
Like,
I totally
when
agree.
do they get that chance?
I totally agree.
To let them in and feel like they're my friend, and I'm just letting them in on my business. They feel like part of it, and they want to help us, and they want to use our fabric, and they want to look for Jaftex. And again, of course, we know that people are going to buy our fabric, but I'm about the industry, because I think if the industry wins, we will all win. Yeah. Consumers, my shops, me, everyone will win. Yeah. And that's what really is important right now.
Okay, so I'm going to shift gears. I think your
question? I forgot what the question was.
Well, it's all good. About your blog and sort of you're connecting to people on social media. And
so my blog, Tales of a Fourth Generation Textile Executive is very funny. The title's very funny. I don't know why I named it that. It's, in hindsight, it's annoying because it's a mouthful. But again, it's the same thing. I like to write. I went to law school. This is like a family joke. I always say my mom forced me to go to law school, but I went to law school. I enjoy writing. And it's just a good way for me to put the info out there. Personally, I enjoy now doing the Facebook Lives more. They're a lot easier, and they have a start and a finish. The blogs don't end until I finally post them after I've edited it about 1,000 times. And so it's a different.
You put it into a book. Tell us a little bit about the book at Amazon.
So that's a good question. So we did 2 books, and basically we took some of my blogs and we put them in there, and we just did it to raise some money. And I was using that money to buy sewing machines for the giveaway that I did. Listen, it was not a bestseller by any means, and probably more work than it was worth, but it was fun. And, we did it as a goof, and, who knows?
All right. So I have a question about fabric, and then I want to talk about the 90 years, the 90th anniversary. So we get this question all of the time, because mostly from scientists, because we did a conference on sewing. You were one of our sponsors, but sewing and scientists coming together. The scientists still don't understand why quilting fabric matters. Like, I just had a call with them yesterday where they're like, well, what's the difference? So can you help me explain to the scientists so I can put a little snippet from you to the scientists?
You mean for masks?
For masks.
For masks?
Yes. They're ridiculous. They don't understand what a batik is. They don't understand what good quality quilting, why it matters. And so they just randomly buy fabric to do their tests. It's very weird.
I don't love answering those questions. They end up getting very technical, and I lose everyone. I would say it's really more about the tightness of the weave and the thickness of the yarns. and that is
Yeah. Now,
are not breathable.
right.
It's funny. I was Fab Shop is I don't know if you read that, but or maybe you don't get it. It's a magazine that goes to the shop owner. Karen Montgomery, who used to own a quilt shop in Allison Park, Pennsylvania, wrote an article about the construction of the fabric. And I should send it to you because I found it to be very good. She's very knowledgeable. She's a friend of mine, but great article, and you should check it out. I think you'll probably have a better chance of answering those questions from the scientist than right now without complicating and losing everyone.
Yeah. So shorthand, go to a quilt shop. That was what I kept saying. Go to a quilt shop, you'll get better fabric. Can you help them understand, like, if they're looking at a bolt, if it's from a particular place, is that going to help them? If it's from a particular country, like, are there little tools that they can, so that they don't have to sort of figure it out on their own?
Okay, so that's a good question. And listen, Elizabeth, in general, Korea and Japan, Korea probably is the best place to get fabric from. That is where we print probably 90% of our quilting cottons, and that goes for all of our companies. The only things we really don't print in Korea are digital fabrics, which we print in Pakistan, and 108-inch wide, which is Pakistan, batiks, which is Thailand or Indonesia, and then a couple things here and there in India, like shot cottons, things like that. So I would say if you're going by country, I would look for Korea. And you want 100% cotton, 60 squares, which nobody writes that on the fabric bolt. That would just be too confusing. And that's always whenever I start talking about that, I lose everyone. That's why I didn't really want to answer your scientific question.
That's okay.
Because everyone
we've done a lot of science on it. Yeah, we've done a ton of science, so they're used to it. But I think is super helpful, because if they just have an understanding, like, go to a quilt shop, look for Korea, that's enough. That's helpful. Have you seen with the masks this continuing? There was a time when people were way into batiks. Like, it was the hot thing that batiks were the thing for masks. Has that continued? And have your sales in batiks, have you seen an increase in sales with batiks?
That was big. And we had, like I said in the beginning, when we were doing those sales, we did sell a lot of batiks.
Yes.
We cleaned out a lot of batiks. To be honest, Elizabeth, right now, I think everyone is kind of acting like business is back to normal. So it's hard to say, I think what they're buying for the masks is more the novelty prints. And I know, like, my companies will have early next year some selling lines that will ship early next year that will be like, I don't know if you saw the Moda had those little squares with the masks.
Yes.
They were the first one to make a pattern. Well, a couple of those.
Yeah.
But listen, deep down, I'm a little nervous about those because I just don't know how long this is going to last. But again, I don't think COVID is just going to be like a magic wand. It's going to be gone. People who are susceptible are still going to be wearing masks. People are going to be staying home more just because, it's just so unclear right now and it's such new territory.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
So 90th anniversary. What are you guys doing? Yep. Because it's kind of a funny... what are you planning? Yeah, the quilt market was
kind of a bust for us because that really was where we were going to do it. So what we did do is we are having what's called the Jaftex Jubilee, which for the entire year, more or less, all of our customers, the shop owners who buy 9 bolts or more will get a ticket that's been put into a basket. Lately, when I do like I said before, every Tuesday I have a call with the retailers. I'll usually have all of our order entry people pick a ticket, and I'll send a random prize. A lot of those prizes that I had at my house that I had to clean out, I sent to the shops as well. So that was a random prize. But the big prize is a $5,000 credit at the end of the year. $5,000 and then $2,500 and then $1,250, and then it just goes down from there. So every 9 bolt order gets a ticket, and then we'll pick a ticket, and someone will get a surprise.
I love it.
We also did, I don't know if you remember, but for our 85th anniversary, were you around 5 years ago?
No, I saw is it the quilt? You did a quilt in your office. I saw the quilt in your office.
Well, in my office in New York?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was for the 85th anniversary quilt. Yes, you saw that one. So we did another one for the 90th. We reprinted the fabric. We made some changes. My sister was mad because she wasn't on it, so we got her on there. the team at Free Spirit right now is working on an arrangement of different things being made out of that. I'm going to make a whole ensemble or something.
That's so
but
cool.
It was supposed to be an exciting booth at Quilt Market. We were going to do some other things, but unfortunately we can't do that. So that's why I started picking the random prizes. I'll continue to do that when I get into my new house. And I will eventually show the pictures of all the cool things that we're going to make with the Jaftex fabric. There's a beautiful quilt. I don't know if you saw. They showed a layout of it. It's by Robin Ruth Designs. It was on my Facebook page a little bit before the contest started in August. And she does great quilts, and it mixes with Tim Holtz, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of a bust, the party, but we'll figure something out, and it's not over yet. We still have the rest of this year to
great.
Do some things.
I love it. All right, so this is my very last question. What is grapefruit wine?
Well, wait, first off, we got to do two things. We got to talk, let's talk a little bit Sunday briefly. Phone's ring.
Okay.
Sunday briefly, the trivia, and then I want to talk about the video challenge.
Yes,
Can we
definitely.
talk about that?
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yes, it's on our list. Okay. Yes, of course.
Okay, so, sorry, the phone's ringing and no one's getting it. I think my wife is exercising and kids don't move now during coronavirus. So listen, we got up to 17 weeks on the trivia, or 16 or 17 weeks. And I was like, this is crazy. So I started drinking, and listen, everyone's home and they're lonely. And what better than to go down with talk about fabric and answer questions and all drink together.
Totally.
So you ask, because I ran out of the grapefruit wine. There's this great grapefruit wine rosé that Lori bought, and it's really delicious. I just bought some to bring to the new house. But I just started with everyone. So week 17, 18, 19, and 20, we drank together. I got some weird private messages after the video, but all is good. And listen, everyone's right now, everyone, whether you realize it or not, we're all stressing, internalizing, not sleeping as well, not exercising as well, not eating as well. So it's tough, and people are lonely. So I just want to be there for them and see if we can hang out, and who doesn't like to drink and talk about fabric and get free fabric for me for questions.
That's very true.
So that's with the grapefruit wine.
I love it.
And I think they sold some extra bottles because of me, because I was talking it up.
Nice.
But
very
I didn't get any
I
money.
hadn't heard of it, so I wanted to know. That's very funny.
All right. So while you go get your drink, I'm gonna do my own. I'll do my own monologue. So
wait, hold on just a second. Let me just mute.
August. Yeah. So for August.
Hold on just a second. Let me mute so I don't cough onto
you. Yeah, you didn't mute.
Yeah. Okay. Go for
it. So for August, like the last 2 years, I did the video challenge. So I went to a social media conference, social media market examiner or something like that, in California about 3 years ago. And I heard one thing that I glommed onto, which was 80% of what we're going to consume in social media in 2020 is going to be video. So I heard that whatever the cost of that event was so worth it, because I went all video after that. And now I've transferred that energy to my customers to try to get them to do video. So I started this 3 years ago. It was just really over the summer, I was going to a lot of shops that summer. And what I would do is I would do a tour. I'd walk around with the owner. She'd talk me through certain things. And it was great. People were really enjoying it. But I got home and I was like, geez, I'm getting tired. I was in Wisconsin. I did like 6 of them. And I said, why don't I put the onus on the owners to do this? So to be honest, anyone who got into it 3 years ago is totally psyched right now, because now is the time when the pandemic is here and everyone's sitting on their phone and, without things to do. They want to see videos. They want to see fabric. They want to see quilt shops. So those people who've been doing it for 3 years, they're good at it. Some people are going as far as selling and having like auction type things. A lot of really clever ways, and some shops are even closing and going all online because they're realizing how good this can really be without the aggravation of maybe running a quilt shop. So the first year, I think we got about 125 submissions. So basically for the month of August, the shops would send me the video and I posted on my page. for everyone to watch. That's my @Jaftex President page, and I encourage people to watch and share. And then the winner got a prize. The prize the first year went to the Old Country Store. And what we did is I went up there to Intercourse, Pennsylvania. They put together about 350 people. I spoke to them. They had a pop-up shop. I did a lecture. We did another video. So that was the prize the first year. Last year, Deb Luttrell from Stitch in Heaven in Texas won. Unfortunately, we were talking about me going there to reward the prize, which was going to be me talking or having some sort of event. And I also required them to have some sort of charitable component to that because that's important to me. And they did a great job at the Old Country Store. They made some quilts and they auctioned them for the Amish people, and they raised a ton of money, which was great. So I didn't get to reward the prize to Deb Luttrell at Stitch in Heaven, but recently one of her employees or maybe one of her kids emailed me about trying to do a Zoom because unfortunately I really won't be able to go. So now we're on year 3 and it's August. And if you're free and have nothing to do, go to my @Jaftex President page. There are probably 70 shop video tours to see, and they have gotten so much better. A lot of them are really great. A lot of people are discovering these shops, but not only that, they're selling things and they're finding new customers this way. So it's all positive. You just don't know. A woman just told me a lady traveled from miles away. She was visiting her kid and she said, "Oh, I saw your video on Scott's page." And she was so excited. The shop owner was so excited. I had another one emailed me today, said she had a coupon code in her video. 51 people used the coupon code. So I'm nagging the hell out of all my shop owner friends and everyone on our retailer page, which is 1,400 shops, to do the video because I know they're going to win if they they don't do it, they won't know. But if you do it, you could try, and you could try to implement video into your business. And it's really important, especially now that everyone's home and people can't come to the shop and they're looking for things to do. I mean, I'm tapped out. I watch everything on Netflix, every old movie, every rerun. So true. And people are looking for other things. So these are great. They'll go on for the whole month of August. This year, we are going to give a prize. We're giving, just like we did for the other event, with the prizes, the rewards for the 90th anniversary. On this one, we're going to give a $1,250 credit to the shop that gets the most total views.
That's really cool.
That's how we're measuring it.
Yeah.
So I saw one the other day, and we're only halfway through the contest. One had 40,000 views. And wow. I'm not sure if you know this, a view. Do you know what a view is? It's 3 seconds or more, which is kind of not true. So I say if half or a quarter even saw your shop, a lot of exposure, and you have no idea what the outcome will be.
Now, all the shops in, or if a shop is listening, can they still submit, or is that the submissions?
The entire month of August you can submit. So I'm
awesome.
On the retailer page. The video's kind of slowed down. We hit about 70, 80. I'm sure we'll have another burst. But I keep on the retailer page, I keep saying, "Come on, why wouldn't you do this?" I said, I said, "You saw a $20 bill on the floor, wouldn't you pick it up?" So I'm trying to encourage them. I know it's going to be a win for them. But listen, people don't like to be in front of the camera. People are afraid of technology, but you need to embrace it. And that's what I'm trying to do. And when I have my weekly calls, I'll give tips. I'll tell them things that I'm seeing that are good, things that I'm seeing that are bad, and what I've learned. And I keep telling them, give us close-ups of fabric. That's what people want to see. Don't just pan across the store.
Right.
Things like that. And just trying to be helpful and encouraging. I watched every single video, which I think there's probably 60 or 70. I comment on every one because I want the people to know that I care. And some of them I'll write constructive criticism or send them an email or something. But it's the beginning of something to implement another aspect of your business. If you have a website, that's great. Now do video, add that to the pie. It's going to bring you revenue and it'll help you win. And I think that's what it's all about. And that's why I'm trying to be pushy. And again, it's not about me. We tell them show Jaftex fabrics, but we want to see your shop. People want to travel. Not everyone is mobile. Right. It's great. And it's worldwide. So anyone could do it in the world. I have only seen one. And there's actually, I don't know if you look, there's one from this company called Longteh, Longteh. And they had what's his name? I forgot his first name. Amazonas. He does amazing cave quilts. And it's really very cool to see his work and just to see an international distributor and their business. I hope more international companies get in because they can win too. They can participate. I'm not.
So
I
let
let
me ask you.
I
So
want
one
everyone
of the
in.
things that people worry about with video is that they have to edit it and that it takes a lot of time. Do you feel like it's just about, is the editing and adding stuff to it, does that matter? Or do you feel like it's okay to have it like raw, kind of just do it kind of thing? Like for people
Okay,
who are
so I have a
nervous
bunch of theories on that.
Yeah.
So for one, I love raw. I do raw. I love live because it's in and I'm out and I'm done. If I screw up, I just keep going. And I tell the shop owners all the time, I say the same thing. I said, if you mess up, just keep going. You could always fix it in the comments or in the beginning. You know, when you write your caption about the video, you could always fix it. If it's a total fiasco, I tell them just delete it. Go wash your face. Go take a breather. Go see where you went wrong and get back up and do it again. But I really encourage them to get it, do it, and be done because that's a great feeling. And I think everyone builds the anticipation up, and you just need to.
Agree.
I keep saying, like, stop waiting. You're just letting the stress grow.
Yeah.
Do it, be done. And then what I tell them after the video is done, that it's not over. You did the hard part by making the video, but now you need to engage with the people. Talk to them. They're new people on your site. Talk to them. Tell them about their shop. Show them a picture of something that maybe flew by quickly that they liked. But keep it going. Because if you engage, it's very, people want to be engaged. I always say to my customers, when you're doing videos and people ask questions, they don't ask questions not to be answered. They want them to be answered. So I always go back in my videos and I always try to answer all the questions because if they wouldn't answer the question if they didn't want to know an answer.
So interesting.
So it's important for them to, sorry, let me just finish that one sentence. It's important for them to engage after and try to drum up business or activity, where are you? How far are you from here? Can you show me this? What else do you have? Do you have this thread? Yes. And they make a sale. And that's what it's about, trying to figure out how to sell more fabric and keep the business revenue coming in.
How important do you think where you put your videos are? Facebook versus a web page versus, say, YouTube? Like, do you think a YouTube channel is super important? Sort of, where are you on that sort of philosophy of social media?
That's a tougher one for me. I'm really all about Facebook. Even on Instagram, I have like 2,000 followers, and I really just couldn't get it going. And quite honestly, I just haven't been loving Instagram. I'm really into Facebook. I'm comfortable there. That's where my audience is biggest. We have put some things on YouTube. I don't even really look at that. My social media people do that. So I can't even tell you how many people watch, but I would say my Facebook page for me is the best. And that's really for each person to determine, because you may be an Instagram person and that might be your thing. And I totally get that. That's good. If you're comfortable there and that's where you have the most followers, that's great. For as far as YouTube, I kind of feel like that's where you put the video after it's done on Facebook or Instagram, maybe just for it to live in a place where it's not just all the way down your feed and you have to go search for it. But whether it's Instagram or Facebook, that's really personal preference. And I would go where you have the most people. And, like what I like to do is I'll put it on Facebook, but on Instagram, I'll go and say, tomorrow I'm doing this, come and see it. And then those people are always like, oh, I'm not on Facebook. So you just don't know. And I kind of think it's probably, you got to decide what's best for you. And it's hard to do it all,
Yeah, it totally is. You have to let go.
There's too many things.
You have to be okay with like your little sliver of what you do because there is just too much out there.
Exactly. And you could kind of put your eggs in more, in one basket and really go right there and go strong. And, whether you advertise on Facebook or, whatever you're doing to promote it. We actually went out on all of our company pages to try to push people to my page just to see the videos, because the more people that see these videos, it goes back to, what I'm telling you, that we're about the industry and people seeing fabric and, they're home and they're bored and they're stressed. So let's go look at some beautiful fabric and see some and learn about something. A lot of people are teaching things on these videos and showing amazing fabrics and have unique kits that, you can't buy here or you can't buy there. It's, and that's what makes the shop special. They're all not the same. Yeah. They're all very different.
It's very interesting. Well, this is so. This time has been so great. I miss you, and I think this is so amazing. And catching up like this is so great. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add to this? I want to ask you a few things off camera, but anything else that we should know or be thinking about?
Well, so the one other thing. So besides talking about trying to get more people to quilt and figuring out how to make it stick, I think that's very important. One thing I'm asking people to do is anticipate the future and hope for the best, but plan for the worst. I mean, we don't know if this is going away. I keep thinking, now is great. It's warm, but when it's cold, what are you going to do? It's like a restaurant, yeah, it's great. They're having outdoor seating, but when it starts snowing, that's game over. What are you going to, I want everyone to put themselves in that position. And I keep telling my sales reps, you need to think ahead, because if you wake up in December that you need snow tires, everyone else is going to be doing that. And it's going to be like the toilet paper frenzy, right, and you'll not be able to get snow tires. So think ahead, because Corona's not going away. If it does, great, but at least you're prepared. We're preparing to be home now in our new house a lot. We're thinking about ping pong for the family and, things for us all to do as a family and things outside so we could be outside and not cooped up and not losing our minds, because this is wearing. It definitely wears on you. And, when it starts to wear, you put your guard down. And I don't want anyone who I know or deal with, or anyone for that matter, to get COVID, because it's you just don't know how you're going to take it. So think ahead, plan for the future. Think about, what it's going to look like in 3 months from now if COVID is still here. If it isn't here, great. We don't have nothing to worry about. But if it is here, you should be prepared, and I think that's very important.
And what do you
want to be in a situation where they don't have any more toilet paper and you're scrambling or whatever it is that you might need.
That's right. Well, it's very interesting, isn't it? We live in very strange times, and it's been interesting to watch the your industry, your fabric world explode. What a weird thing. That just is so bizarre. Like the story of 2020 is, I mean, you've been so good. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm so psyched to chat with you, and it makes me feel good to just connect with you and sort of see how everything's going. And your video, I can't wait to go look at all the shops and see what they're doing and see the quality of the videos. And if you are a shop out there, engage, do it. It's totally cool. I think that's amazing.
Well, that's why I reached out to you yesterday, because I'm thinking we're right in the middle, and I know you talk to a lot of people, and I know your troops. What do you call your
quilting
troops?
Army. The quilting army. That's right.
The quilting army. Yeah, I'd love them to go out and tell all their quilt shop, buddies to do the videos, because it will help them. Yeah. And if you don't do it, you don't know. Yeah. But don't be afraid. Everyone did a first video one day. Yeah. And listen, it gets better with time. Okay. But if you don't do it, you can't reap the rewards. Yeah. And we don't know if we're going to be cooped up for the rest of the year.
There's a moment.
So it can play an important part.
That's right. All right, Quilting Army, so you've heard it. We've got a call to action to let our shops know we want to see videos of their shops and to post them. If a shop wants to post it, how do they post it?
So the best thing really is to go to my blog, which is www.scott-fortunoff.com. On June 29th, I posted a post all about the contest, but the video has to be shared with Jennifer, JENNIFER, at Jaftex.com. She will confirm, and then she'll tell you when your video is going to be posted, because it does kind of like a lag, because there is a delay. We started off really strong with a lot, and we had the days filled up, but now I think everyone's kind of petering out, and I'm trying to give them a kick in the butt to get them going. And
awesome.
Anyone who I could rile up to get a quilt shop to do a video would be good. I was predicting 250 videos, but I think I'm going to be disappointed again. I just keep beating myself up to try to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. I think, the quilt shops are they've just got so much. I think running a shop is just, you're just overrun by so much things. And I imagine they think the video is going to take forever, and it doesn't. And they think it's just one more thing, and it's like that emotional kind of what you're saying of like, just do it, because once you do it, you'll know. Yeah,
that's why I just want them to get up and do it and be done. If you do it and think about it a little and plan, the video part will be 20 minutes. But Elizabeth, they are busy. This is huge for them. That's why I know everyone's busy. I'm busy too. You think
I know when
We're
people
all
say
busy.
that, it's like
You gotta
I
make
swear.
the time.
That's right. It's
Those
like,
are excuses.
There's no. I know. And it's
my
only going
other
to take
blog.
you. That's right.
Wait, hang on one sec. I want to tell you one thing. My other blog, right after the first blog about the contest, is challenge video excuses are lame. There's no good excuse to not do it, and I debunk all those excuses because I've heard them all, and they're all lame. And all of your other competitor quilt shops are reaping the rewards. You can look on my page. I just told you. One shop said 51 people used the coupon. Granted, 40 of them were existing customers, but she got 11 new customers.
That's huge.
10.
That's a lot.
Where are you finding 11 new customers out of nowhere?
Right.
Video.
I love it.
It is crazy for our industry, and it is exciting, and it's pretty amazing. But it's really went from 0 to like 120 very quickly.
Very quickly.
Everyone's frustrated with the delays, but the delays are real, and we're doing the best we can. But the delays are real, and everyone is experiencing them. So we're not in it alone. We're trying to push, but it's hard. It's really
interesting.
But good overall. We're happy.
Very cool. Well, I'm so glad. All right, let me turn off the recording. Thank you again. Are you okay with us posting this? Do you need to review it before?
Yes, thank you. Awesome. I appreciate it.
All right,
it's always good to speak with you. Thank you.
Okay. So you've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. And I'm Elizabeth Townsend Gard. If you like this podcast, keep listening. Also, we have a Facebook group. Come join us. We talk about a lot of things. We also have an Instagram account. And of course, most importantly, I really hope you get a chance to quilt today.